This laptop I picked up at Best Buy just before Black Friday last year, 2010. It was on sale there. Kind of has a lower end processor, not a lot of RAM, those kind of things. So today I'm going to be upgrading the processor, but in the process of doing that, you'll see how to get to the RAM, the hard drive, other things that you might want to upgrade on it. So to upgrade the processor, you're going to need a few things. The main thing you're going to need is a screwdriver. This one here has both flat and Phillips sides to it. You'll need both of those. The flathead more for just getting access to things more than removing screws. I've got a few other tools here that you might not necessarily need, but some needle nose pliers, pickup tool, those kind of things just in case I need them. And then obviously if you're going to upgrade the processor, you need a new one. This one here is the one I'm going to be upgrading to. It's a Turion II P540 dual core processor. And you'll need some thermal compound to put on the processor anytime you're removing a processor from a motherboard. You'll want to have that handy. Check the eMachines website for the specs on this laptop. You can also check Wikipedia or other places to see what other processors are compatible. The socket is called S1G4, so any of the S1G4 processors should work on this machine. So let's get going. First thing you want to do is turn the machine over, shut it down if you haven't done that already. You're going to want to remove the battery. We don't want any voltage going to any of the components while we're doing this, so we'll just set that aside. You might notice I've also got some paper here and a pen that I'm going to label all the screws that I removed just so I know where they go when it gets time to put it back together. Next thing we want to do is, there's two screws on this little cover here at the bottom. We're just going to go ahead and remove those two Phillips screws. And then I like to use the flat end of the screwdriver to kind of get underneath the cover here to get it started. Once it's started, then you can just pop it the rest of the way off. Set that out of the way. You can see the two RAM modules here, and then the hard drive here on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and remove both of those, and also this wireless card here. To replace the processor, we pretty much have to take the motherboard entirely out of the case. So I like to have everything disconnected from it to do that. So to remove the RAM, there's a little plastic flap here, just kind of pull that up. And then there's these two little spring clips on both sides. You just pull those apart and the RAM chip will pop right up. And then you can pull it right out. And then same thing for the one below it. Okay, for the hard drive, there's a Phillips screw right here at the very bottom of the case. We're going to go ahead and pull that one out. I'm going to label that on my paper here. Okay, and then the next thing we need to do to get the hard drive out is just slide it to the left side of the case, so away from the motherboard. There's a plastic piece on top of it that you can kind of use to help pull on it. But we just basically have to pull the whole hard drive to the left side of the case. I'm going to also get my screwdriver here on the hard drive bracket to kind of help pry on it, and there we go, it's out. We'll set the hard drive aside too. And then we're going to go ahead and remove this wireless card, excuse me. And to do that, there's a little plastic flap on it as well, and there's a little Phillips screw on it. I'm going to go ahead and pull that screw out. And when you do that, the card will kind of pop up a little bit like the RAM did, and then you can slide it out to the left. There's wires that connect this to other parts of the laptop, so for now, it's just going to kind of be loose here. So let's take the screw out of it. And it'll just kind of sit there for now until we get to the motherboard and actually remove the motherboard. So for now I'm going to kind of tuck it in where it would go, just so it'll kind of be out of the way. There's a bunch of screws that we can go ahead and remove. There's 4 little tiny ones below where the battery was. Go ahead and take those out. Okay, and then there's a whole bunch of screws around the edge of the case. We're going to take all those screws out. They're all just Phillips head screws. Most of them are on the outside of the case. There is one that's inside this cover that we removed as well. So we're going to take all of those out. Okay, and then once you've got all those around the edge, there also is one right in the middle of the back. Take that one out as well. So what I did was just kind of turn the laptop over and got the rest of those screws out that were down inside these holes. Make sure that LAN card stays tucked out of or the Wi-Fi card stays tucked out of the way there. Okay, and then now we're going to turn the laptop over. We're going to go ahead and open up the screen here. The next thing that we need to do is remove the keyboard. To do that, there are several tabs holding it in, two on the sides, one right by the tab key, one by the plus key, and then several along the top. The ones along the top, you can actually move them out of the way and then get the keyboard to come out around them. So I'm going to start up here in the corner by the escape key. Just kind of have to push those tabs in, lightly pull up on one of the keys, and then you can get it past it. For these ones on the side, like right here by the tab key, what I like to do is get the little flathead just right to the side of it and just kind of pry on this keyboard just a little bit, and you can get it out away from that one. And then you just kind of work your way around the top edge, get all those tabs loose. There's one right there by the F4 key, right here by the F8 key. By the F12. Okay, and just keep going around right here by the delete key. Okay, and then one last one right here by the end key. There we go. And then you should be able to pop out that last one on the side. When you do that, you'll be able to lift out the keyboard from the bottom. You pull it up and you can see that there's a ribbon cable attaching it to the motherboard here. We're going to go ahead and disconnect that ribbon cable. To do that, there's a black bar that you just kind of have to push down on. Kind of go back and forth to each side until it comes all the way out, and then you can just slide that ribbon cable right out. And we can set the keyboard aside here. Okay, when you take the keyboard out, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of screws here that are holding this top plate on top of the motherboard. So there's several of them here. You can see them all. They're labeled with a 5L next to most of them. So we're going to go ahead and remove all of those screws now. Okay, once you've got all of those out, then this whole top plate can come off. So we're just going to try to start at one side here. I'm going to use my little plastic prying tool that I've got here. It just kind of has some tabs holding it around the edges. So you may be able to just do it with your fingers. You know, be gentle with it, but it does take a little bit of force to get those tabs dislodged. Including up at the top by the power button. Okay, so it'll start to come loose, but you can see there's a ribbon cable here on the left that's preventing it from going any farther. We'll go ahead and disconnect that. There's a white tab connector like the black one we had on the keyboard. Go ahead and move that white connector up, and then you can pull that ribbon cable out. Now that there's another ribbon cable here, it's marked MB. That we need to take off as well. Go ahead and do that.